Hey guys, it's Tresa. If you're new, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here on Frugal from Scratch with me. I am making some corn today. So I got some corn in my farm box. I don't do a ton of corn, but I do love some fresh corn on the cob, especially when it comes fresh like this from a nice organic farm. So you have to be careful. Corn is a very highly genetically modified crop, and you're going to find glyphosate and a lot of other chemicals on it. So you definitely want to make sure that you're getting nice local organic corn. And I broke this in half so it'll fit in the pot. I used to always steam my corn, and we found this recipe and it's amazing. So what I have in my pot right here is just water, salt, and a little bit of garlic. I chopped the garlic. You can put a whole clove in if you want. And what I'm putting in now is some milk and some butter. And we're going to turn the heat up and let that come to a boil. And then we're going to bring it down to a simmer. We're going to put the corn in. You can add pepper too. I do not like pepper on my corn on the cob. I like salt and butter, and that's about all. Actually, sometimes I'll just do butter, depending on how sweet the corn is. But I did put some salt in there, and that's gonna happen to cook at a little bit higher temperature too. So the butter's melting, and it's starting to come back up to a simmer. You can see that. What's in the pot? Let me show you. Okay, so it's about 2 to 1 on the water milk ratio. So I think I did about 2 or 2.5 cups of water. I measured the first time I used the recipe, and now I have it. And then I added about 3/4 of a cup of milk, and I just used fresh raw milk that I have. If I don't have milk on hand, I always try to keep a milk powder on hand, like an organic milk powder. And I'm gonna add the corn now, and we're just gonna pop that in and put the cover on it. I'm gonna show you what it looks like though. See how yummy that looks? And we're just gonna put the cover on, and we're gonna let it simmer. Probably for about 10 minutes. If it starts to boil, I'll lower the temp down, and we're just gonna let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and then it should be nice and tender. And I was saying something about corn. I don't remember what I was saying about the corn. So we've had it a couple times in the farm box, and we've tried this, and it was really quite delicious. So I wanted to share the recipe with you because it's just really, really tasty. And you can actually use the liquid afterwards. It's kind of sweet from the corn, and it's butter and milk, and we've cooked pasta in it. I've actually took the corn off the cob and used that same liquid and made chowder, put some potatoes in and made a corn chowder, because it's good. I mean, it's tasty. You just cook the corn in it. It's not like it's, anything bad. And cooking pasta in it was really quite tasty because it was a little salty, the butter, the milk, it just gave the pasta some really, really great flavor. So I'm gonna let this simmer away, and I'll show you the final result. So the corn has been bubbling away. You can see that it's still kind of going for about 10 minutes. So I am going to just take it out so I can show you. It just absorbs all the milk, and you're gonna want to kind of drip it out here. And it is really, really very yummy. Now you can add a little bit more butter or salt if you really want to. This is steaming hot, so I'm not going to eat it yet, but I will have some in a little bit. It is absolutely delicious. It smells so good, and that liquid in there smells amazing too, because it's got the corn. Now, if the corn's not sweet and you want to sweeten it, the original recipe that I found had add a little sugar to it, which you could, brown sugar. I haven't been adding any sugar because the corn is sweet and I try not to avoid any added sugar to anything. So there's that. But if you really want your corn sweeter, you could add a little bit of sugar. I would say probably just like a tablespoon. You don't eat a lot. And then you would add that in when you put in the milk and the butter with the water and the salt and the garlic. But man, this is delicious. It's still a little hot, but I'm going to try a bite so I can tell you how delicious it is. It's really good. I really don't think you even need to add anything. Kind of like I said, if you want to add more butter, salt, some pepper, whatever. But it gives so much flavor when you cook it this way that I don't think you even need to. And leftover corn makes great, you put in cornbread, makes great fritters. My mother used to always make corn fritters and make a fritter batter. I use the same batter that I would use if I was making like zucchini fritters or squash flour fritters or any of those kind of things. It's basically kind of like a pancake, a little thicker than a pancake batter. And then you could cut the corn off the cob and you can put it in the batter and make corn fritters. It's great in cornbread. You could do corn chowder, like I said. And corn chowder is really just basically broth. You could use a vegetable broth. You could use like a chicken broth if you wanted to. Or you could even just water and season it up if you wanted to do that. And then you're gonna dice up potatoes and you're gonna cook the potatoes right in there. It helps to thicken the chowder a little bit too. And cut the corn off the cob, and that kind of goes in towards the end because the corn is already cooked. But you get good flavor. Some people like to put bacon, fried bacon, and chop it up and throw that in. Or you could start, if you want to start from scratch with your corn chowder, you can cook some bacon in your pan, pull the bacon out, crumble it up, take out the majority of the bacon grease. You don't want much in there. And then you could throw in onions, celery, leeks, garlic, whatever you want for seasoning. Green onions would be great, or you could just do like a sweet onion and some garlic. Let that cook in that just little bit of bacon fat that's left in the bottom of the pan. Celery is always good to add a little more flavor too. And then you can put in your broth and your potatoes. Get the potatoes cooked, and then you can add the corn. Cut it right, just cut it off the cob. It's better to do that cold. It's easier. And put that in. And if you want a creamy chowder, so some people do like a clear broth, but I prefer, especially for corn chowder, a creamy broth. So then you're gonna add cream or milk, whatever you had, and depending on how thick you want it. It's gonna be a little thicker soup if you add cream than if you add just milk. But either way, if you use whole milk, it's gonna taste delicious. So, and you don't need a lot of milk, you just need enough to get it that creamy consistency. And I usually just, when I make soup, I kind of just taste as I go. I make a lot of soups come winter. I'll share more with you about that as I start making them, but I make a lot of soups because I love soup in the winter. And I think it's just an easy way to get your meat, your protein, your meat, your veggies, and one pot meal makes super easy. I'll make a pot of soup and then I'll eat it throughout the week for lunch or dinner or whatever. And, but yeah, corn chowder is a great summertime treat. And the corn on the cob is really yummy like this. I hope you try it. I'll put the recipe on my blog. Check that out. Check out the links below for places to find all the things you need for your kitchen, Thrive Market, Azure Standard, and for some free offers from me. You can sign up for my email list. You can not miss anything from me. And check out the link to my free group called Nourished and Renewed, where I share lots of info and health tips, and I'll go a little deeper even than I do here. So check that out. You can join free. Private community. God bless and have a great day.